What's going on, guys? So on this SHOKY review, we're going to take a look at the Gundam Dantalion. Dantalion. I don't know. Don't know how it's actually pronounced. Now, of course, we did the live unboxing / minor build day for this, which was a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and take a more official look at the box, even though I sort of went over it before. Of course, we have the Dantalion right here, with its giant arms and guy who isn't McGillis, but people think is somehow related. Blonde hair, blue eyes, apparently. I don't know. And according to some of the read-up, which we'll look at in a minute, I guess he's not even going by his real name, so who knows. So, of course, we got Iron-Bodied Orphans, Moonsteel, Gecko, logo here, HD Iron-Bodied Orphans here, of course, Gundam Dantalion down there. And look up close, and that's actually a very cool-looking Gundam. This is definitely one of the more unique Gundams of IBO. We got 2017, made in Japan, and first production limited accessory Gundam Tri-Age card. So there was a thing in there. So we'll come down to the bottom, and you get a weird, for some reason you get the rear and front shot. I forgot to kind of start redoing the IBO boxes. So you get the big shot here, you got the half cowl T, which I guess is just the upper part. So the detail each body part is precisely reproduced. That sounds really funny. And Gundam Dantalion half cowl T-form creates an impressive silhouette and its two gigantic arms. It really does, actually. Join, create, and expand. Okay, so we got the big bayonet rifle can be extended into enormous bayonet sword. Interesting. And you come over here, and you got, it has the T-booster, so it uses the arms and turns into a big thruster backpack, which is absolutely annoying. We'll look at that. And we have the naked mode. He's naked. Hey. This is YouTube. Can't be showing that. Naked Gundams. So you come over here, and you've got number 38 in the line, which is honestly kind of small, but there's still so many Gundams in this line. Or even just Gunpla, I should say. HG144, and you got BandaiHobby.net with Gundam.info. And you come over here, and you got the customize. Sorry, I'm really close to the camera. So you got customize, you can add in other stuff. So you've got the giant axe from the one set, you've got the hatchet from another. You can plug stuff into the butt. I don't even know. Hold on. Using the mounting holes and body. So there's a hole down here on the back skirt, and so far I don't know exactly what that's for. They don't really show you that. So, oh yeah. By the way, this package contains one set of HG1144 Gundam Dantalion only. Okay, gtakatsu.com. Lighting's a little bit weird in here. I don't know. I guess because the light's not as focused. Stories, serialized manga. You can read that real quick. Okay, now we come over here, and don't stick a dandelion in your 3-year-old's face. It will likely hurt. And you got 1,600 yen, so about 15 bucks. I'm sorry, 18 bucks. Sorry, ages 8 and up. You got a little guy with the toilet. You got the 0 to 3-year-olds will cry. Illustration is by Koma. Finished work is by Saito Yoshinobu, some of my favorite artists from this series. Big arms, still upside down. Now, the beginning of the video was, the beginning of the live stream build obviously was filmed that way, so there was no time-lapse. But I time-lapsed everything after that. Hopefully it'll be enough to fill the whole thing. So let's go ahead and look at that build montage. Alright, so here we have the Dantalion finished up here. Dantalion, Dantalion. I don't know. It's named after a flower or a demon, whatever. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at accessories because he has a few, but let's go ahead and look at this card first, which, you know, I don't have autofocus on. Here we go. So, really cool looking holographic card. Obviously, it's for card game in Japan using this big old machine like here, like to have the Yu-Gi-Oh machines and stuff like that. Obviously, this is for that. So, ASWG 71, he's number 71. He's way down the list of Gundams. Wow, okay. But, you know, you got all the stats and stuff like that. 3,200, 3,800, 1,800. I don't know what any of that means. I haven't played the game. 4,700. Wow. I'm guessing that means it's a level 5 of some sort. It's a really cool card. I've got no use for it, but it is a neat thing to have. So, I mean, if some of these things start coming with these, I'm kind of cool with that. Throw it off to the side here. Big mess. And we have a hand. No. And we have his main weapon. So it is the bayonet sword. What do they call it? Bayonet cannon? What is it? Bayonet rifle. That's what it is. One of those things. Sword, rifle, everything. So now with this thing, of course, you guys can see it's got some silver paint on the edges there. And did as good as I could to, you know, the actual box art. My silver marker, however, doesn't seem to want to work very good. That's a brand new silver marker. Guess it's a little too thinned out. I mean, we get some decent reflection there. Not too bad. Also added some of my favorite dark gray ever right here on the hilt and the pommel. And a couple spots down the way. But it's a really cool weapon. And, you know, one thing about these Gundams from this side story, they tend to have very, very large weaponry. And of course, this is just sandwich pieces, so there are nubs right here. Why are you focusing way back there? So, apologies for the nubs. The cool thing is, so you hold it like this, he does actually have a rifle handle as such. Now that does remove, so you can totally use it in sword mode, just like any other Gundam IBO kit. You just pull the back of the hand off, insert the weapon. Or, yeah, I guess technically insert the weapon. And it has enough of a base on that grip that it actually won't slide out. So, there you have it in its basic rifle mode. And I'm going to say this is very much a 00 weapon. If that had a green edge to it, I would say this is straight out of 00. But it can hold it very effectively. And this is where I really think it looks like a 00 weapon. It looks like something that either Exia or even the 00 itself would totally use. It's a cool weapon. Now, of course, it does have its full extended form. So while it does have a sword mode, this is technically also a long barrel rifle, from what I can see, because it definitely has a big barrel tip right there. It is pretty cool. So you can totally hold it in this mode if you really want to get him kind of crossing his arms here. There's no expressive hands. I might have to steal some off another guy. But I think that is actually a fairly awesome image right there. Now, he can actually hold it in sword mode in his naked form, but it's a little awkward. Okay, so pull that handle off, and you can put it... Oh, duh. He can totally hold it. Now, you can hold it in this form, but of course he's not meant to really use it in his giant sword mode in his naked form, but he can totally do it. That's actually very awesome. Let's push this to the back right quick. We'll set the handle off to the side because we don't need that right now. We'll take a look at the main accessory. So this is, of course, the T booster, which is pretty awesome. And now I'm realizing I don't have actually rotated equally on both ends. But so this is in its booster form. It is in its backpack mode. I guess technically speaking, it's always a backpack. But you can see you've got a nice dark grayish, bluish, navy color here. You've got the purplish, grayish main frame color for all this stuff. Now, I did actually have some of my favorite dark gray ever, so right in here, which I don't know if that's technically intakes or just part of the joints, whatever. And then down here on what will be the knuckles for the hands, got some gray paint because otherwise they were just solid red. And this is the one that I realized is not facing the right way. Push that back in. It does get these cool copper stickers inside there. It's also got some red stickers right around here. Now, in T-booster form, it does just plug in like any other Gundam backpack on this series. So you just got the twin holes on the back. And you come to the actual back, of course. And plug it right in. Now there's an obvious problem with that. It becomes insanely back heavy, and that right there is my #1 problem with this entire kit. That center ball joint is very weak. It literally just comes straight out of the hole. It's just not even a firm thing. So to prevent that, hopefully, they give you this really dumb stand. So it's got these 2 slots, kind of a big round port there. And I do believe this came, or something very similar to this came with the mobile armor. I don't know exactly what it was for, but I believe it has one, at least very, very similar to it. Now you take those ridges there. Actually, I'm going to do this separately. And you want to put them into these bits here on the quote-unquote forearms. This is one of the worst connections I've ever seen. And then you have to roughly do this number. Now you got to straighten out the foot, obviously. And that will just remotely hold the entire backpack up until it just collapses. So, I mean, this is definitely stupid. I mean, I would have much rather them do it very much like the Hyakuri, just put a port on the bottom of it. You know, it's barely holding on. You can see that right there. I mean, even if I took it down a notch and made it more stable, then it's leaning backwards a little, which I guess is not too terrible. So I've got to plant the feet as best I can. Have him look at you guys like so. And mind you, this is, of course, one of my spare stands, as we saw before. I just broke one of these. This one is not broken. So that's it for pretty much his basic accessories. Let's take a closer look at the Gundam itself, because this thing is fairly well unique. I'm going to move the camera up just a little. So we've got a really crazy looking skull face. In fact, actually I tweeted this, or actually I posted it on Bobby Skullface's Facebook because I thought he would get a kick out of it. So it's definitely supposed to be designed to look like a skull. There's like no doubt about that. And if you guys recall, when I was building it, I had to put on these really crazy stickers here on the cheeks. And while they're actually engineered fairly well, they obviously don't install very easily and can be a huge pain. Now you do have some yellow eyes buried way back in there, kind of hard to see. And you have a blue camera sticker right there. Now I didn't bother removing the safety nubs on the V-fin because it actually would have been a little bit more difficult. And the last time I tried to do it on one of these, not even an IBO kit, but the last time I tried to do it, I accidentally snipped the V-fin a little too much and broke it. So I'm not keen on doing it again. Now, as for the armor and stuff, this thing is a bit different from its cousins, you know, this fellow demon-y Gundams. All this new stuff here, new stuff right there along the tops of the shoulders. Very small shoulder armor, a little bit reminiscent of the original Barbatos kit. We've got the very inset vents right there. We've got yellow down here on the crotch. It's actually very cool. Of course, the Gundam frame is exactly the same. More sticker detail, of course, with that sticker and these blue bits here, although these are engineered very well. I'm not even concerned about those at all. You get more stickers down here on these knees, which are terrible, as you can see, but frankly, I'm going to leave them until they annoy me to the point I have to paint that. I hate trying to match that yellowish orange color. Now, he does have except for the legs, he's got very skimpy armor. Like these thighs, I like the dual color, actually triple color layer. Plus, these are like very handle-like. They don't actually come up and cover everything. You can see a lot of the frame of this Gundam, and I really do dig it. Now, for some reason, his main torso articulation seems a little limited. If you guys recall, as I was building it, I did get some chrome right inside there on the pistons, as usual. You can even see a reflection of it right there. That's pretty good. The spine back in there, very hard to see. I can see it way better than you guys can. The camera's just not quite getting there. See, the spine got some chrome, and so did the pistons up here. I love the fact they give you a tiny little bit of back coverage with that little bit of armor. This guy really does remind me more of an RX-78 than anything else in this IBO line. I really do dig it. You know, these little pistons got something there, but obviously I stuck a thumb in there. Now, one thing that's different, these knees are different from standard IBO knees. They actually gave you new frame parts. They still function the same, but they actually look different, and they're actually made to mount these brand new leg armor, which I did not clean up very well. Now, this guy did require some paint detailing, because you had to have the darkness right in here on all these gray parts. I did it just on these buttons just because the inside of the form like this is supposed to be a very skeletal, very exposed frame. So you get the dark part, and then you get the raised other bit there. Same thing on the opposite side. These little thrusters just on the ends of the elbows, I painted just for good measure, like so. The knees and calves, or shins, I should say. So you get a little bit of gray bit in there. Same thing right along here. So you get that cool looking framework. This is not quite as cleaned up as I usually do. Some of them are, some of them are not. Especially this leg seems to be an issue. There's one other issue that I had a lot, to the point I had to do something about it. These right here, these new ankle armor attached to the front of the shin will not stay on. If you start articulating the feet forward or to the side, they totally just pop off every single time. So mine are glued in place. Now hopefully if they give us the rest of the cowl later down the line, that's not going to be an issue. I assume they'll just like plug on over the legs. I do like the feet. They're still the same design feet, but the front is totally new. You got these big kind of dual color claws. Really do dig that, although the joint is a little bit loose. Now, speaking of joints, let's look at the articulation. Because it is an IBO kit, you know the articulation is going to be really good. Same double jointed, or sorry, double ball joint neck as usual. Go all the way around. He has a tiny little head. Can turkey neck a little bit, I guess. He's a little stiff, honestly. He can do it, it's just very stiff. He can look down that far, he can look up, well, about that much. This guy very much does look very skeletal, very undead. I really do dig this. Now, the shoulders do have an upward swing, although it's limited by the actual armor. So you can only really bring them up about that far. However, here's one visual issue. If you drop the arms, it looks like that. That's a big gappy issue. It's not like the shoulder armor can rotate up to fill in the gap. This is their lowest point. This is their highest point. So realistically, you can get some other articulation out of the way. You can get the arms coming up. So we can get, as long as you keep that shoulder socket in place like so, you can actually get a decent height teacher. That's about as far as that's going to go. Now, of course, you get the single jointed elbow. Actually, I'm sorry, double jointed elbow. This is a new elbow system here. So elbow here and another one just slightly further down. So you get a double jointed elbow. Put that ugly shoulder away. And bicep rotation. Now, guys, I will say this right now. If you build this kit, you will find that the bicep will not plug in properly. Stay. So if you built the IBO kits, same standard bicep area here, even though the elbow is different, because this armor is literally just a hair too tight. You will need to take your knife and just scrape the inside of this, just the armor, just scrape that just a little bit, and you will be able to snap that on all the way. Otherwise, it will want to sit down just below the click mark. So it'll want to be right there, and it'll fall off all the time, guys. So keep that in mind. So you're going to have to trim that down just a little bit to plug it on. I will say these wrists are actually very tight. So considering that IBO has been around for a while now, and these kits have been around for a while, those are very tight. So that's actually very good. Of course, on the subject of very tight, we'll talk about the waist, which is not. I guess realistically it's the rock back that is the problem, because as soon as that ball just goes clunk, it just comes out. Then we'll need to capture that just a little bit better. You can spin all the way around. There's nothing in the way. Like I said, he can look down about that far. He's got that tiny bit of ab crunch, but it feels like it's a little bit more limited than some of his brethren. But it's very good. Now the hips are dropping out on me right here. Got to push that right back up in there. Hips do have the hip rock, the swivel, the actual hip joint swivel going on there. I really do like that. You can come way up because there's no front skirt, there's no real side skirt, just these little bits, so you can go straight out at 90 degrees. Oddly enough, there's a back skirt, so you have to go around that a little if you want to swing back and go 90 degrees, if you, or 180, straight back. You can come way out, as these IBO kits tend to do, and with no side skirts, you can really get some hip stretching. Make sure that stays plugged in. So, probably one of the best Jean-Claudes ever. It's actually very nice. Just want to watch out for these gray parts because they feel flimsy, not going to lie. Of course, you get thigh swivel, which lets you go pretty much all the way around, but, you know, why do you need to go all the way around? Bring it up, you still get the great double jointed knee. Except, like I said, this is a new knee. So look at the articulation here. Look how much it is open. It's swiveling still at the same point back here, but look how much that actually opens up. That is absolutely ridiculous. Not to mention we get brand new details right in here compared to the previous Gundams we have seen. Now the ankles are exactly the same, although you're not getting a whole lot of side to side because of this overzealous ankle armor. You still get the rotation inside the joint, and you can still move forward and back. Once again, you are going to want to glue these in place. There's just a little slot right in there. Just dab a glue, leave it on there permanently. You do get the toe point, as you always do, except that one doesn't seem to know how to stop, so it can come all the way around. Perhaps that's going to be for the bottom end of the armor, if and when that comes. But so far, that's actually very, very cool. Now going forward, we're going to go ahead and put him on the stand because it's just easier to deal with the backpack that way. So we're going to go ahead and show off. So we'll show how that becomes the half cal T. So the big giant arms that this kit is definitely known for. So it does, of course, transform just a little bit. I'll just show that off. So you've got a hinge right in here. Now mind you, this is all plastic. Be very careful, and it's very much extended on this slider like so. Now this is how you transform it, however it's not how you necessarily combine it. I'm just going to show this off. So with to go into the arm mode, you want to have these slid in all the way, and you'll hear the little snap, and then rotate them forward so you get these big chesty vents pointing out like so. Now the arms, obviously the easy part, just rotate those down. You got a little bit of a flap here because they're technically shoulder armor. Now these are on a slider, so just grip and pull straight down, and you get an arm right there. Come to the other side, do exactly the same thing. Now you see all the extended red pieces for the arm. That's awesome. Now the hands are always pretty much exposed, however you can pull them out just a little, and you actually get the wrist. Now I think in the instructions it does show that the thumb part, so the 2 fingers, not the 3 fingers, goes up or towards the inside. So if it's going to be using its hands like so, you want the thumb section to be facing inward like that. And so this is actually very cool, and I'll show it off just without installing it. Push him off to the back here. So like I said, you got the cool big vents right here. Those were thrusters in this mode. I'm not entirely certain if they're like flamethrowers or intakes or whatever. There are black stickers inside there. You can see them reflecting very nicely. Around that, I just did my favorite dark gray ever. Otherwise, it wasn't a very nice color. I wanted a tiny bit of color separation. And I pointed it out before. You do get these nice wraparound red stickers. I think these are actually done very well, though the corners will likely get roughed up during transformation. Right in here, going to be a little difficult to see, but you can see right there just those little squares. Got some favorites dark gray ever. Up here, you got black stickers, so you could paint those if you totally want. Same thing on both sides. Got a little bit of favorites dark gray ever all in here just to break up all of that. You can see the color separation. It's just for effect. You know, it's just what I like to do. Now you get those copper stickers right there on the forearms. Pretty cool. And then these little vent looking thingies right through here. Got some favorite dark gray ever. You guys should know this by now. That's my favorite dark gray ever. Of course, the knuckles, like I pointed out before, painted those all the way around. Now, the way these are all hinged together, you got to be a little bit careful, because as you articulate the fingers, fingertips, whatever you want to call it, the first knuckle, they will start working out. So occasionally you'll have to push them back together. This one's actually stuck a little bit, probably due to the paint. Yeah, just got to be real careful about moving that. You don't want to break anything. Now, I was being asked a question about this by somebody in the Texas Gundam Club. If you really want to, guys, you could totally take a knife and separate these fingers, and each one will have individual articulation. It'll lead past this knuckle up down here. No, I guess it will too if you go all the way down. So you can actually get all 5 fingers articulated separately if you really want to go that route. I'm not that crazy, nor do I have a knife sharp enough to pull that off. So you do get articulation in this, like I said before. So you get a swing out like so. You get a bicep rotation. You get a double jointed elbow, even in this mode. You gotta work that top joint a little bit. So even in this, you can get a cool high teacher. So even your backpack can wave at the teacher now. The wrist does rotate, though it will work itself off of there if you're not careful. You'll have to push it all the way back in and try to shove it back on. I haven't had that problem. You do get up and down articulation. Also, you want to make sure it's pulled out all the way to where you feel the snap. Otherwise, it'll just sit there kind of loosely waggling. There we go, like so. Now let's go ahead and put it on Mr. Gundam here. So you want to prep him just a little bit. You want to fold up the arms. This is where that double jointed elbow comes into effect. You want to turn the wrists so they're facing like this. Turn the arms so that he's, I don't know what this pose would be, but you definitely want to do that. I guess I could put his other hand back on. Where'd the sword go? Because we're going to need the sword here in a minute, and we don't need the normal hand to hold it anymore. So we'll set the sword down, put his other hand back on for this. Now, I would love to see this animated. I think this would be amazing, like the first time this happens. You know, a lot of people said it would be awesome just to get this Moonsteel manga animated. And I agree. I think it'd be, you know, pretty cool. Especially this guy's got a cool story. The Astaroth has a cool story. So we're going to come back to the backpack part. Now, sadly, this is where it becomes a parts former. So you've got to get the arms inside here, and you can't just do that all willy-nilly. It's not going to happen. So you actually have to come down here and separate the whole thing. Now, it does say you can pull the arms off first. You can do it one way or the other. So you want to take all that apart. Go ahead and yank the arm off. Make your life a little easier. Now, you can leave, I think you can leave the bottom on. It almost doesn't matter. So you want to come to the back, plug it on, rotate this under, tuck the arm inside. In some ways, it's actually very similar to the way the Hyakuri hides away its arms, honestly. So you want to tuck the arms in like so. Now I've got the left arm. You just want to come down over the normal arm, line up all your pegs, and squish it like so. And then your hip will start giving out off to one side, just like that. Now we'll come back onto this side here. I got it backwards. Do the same thing and just clamp it down and install the right arm. And now we have him in big arm crazy mode, as it were. And yeah, for some reason that left arm, I guess I'm going to tilt it inward a little, wants to flop over. Put the feet down for a little bit of stability here. So this is actually really, really awesome, guys. I actually do like this giant arm form. Now, one thing that does suck, and you could possibly work around it, but you'd lose all stability. You kind of lose the shoulder articulation here. If you could have this articulate as well as the new shoulders, I think it'd be pretty cool. But I get why they don't, because then you'd have all the weight of this only held up by that single ball joint in the shoulder, and that would likely just fall right off. But of course, he can still do things in this mode, so you can use the claws however you like. There's a little bitty thruster or something right in there. This, of course, does make me think of the clamps. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, the clamps, give them the clamps. you know, I think that is a fair assessment there. But of course, what we all want to see is him wielding the huge bayonet sword, right? So to do that, he can't really hold it in the hand. It's a little bit loose. I mean, you could try, but it's just gonna be all floppy like so. So of course it does come with an adapter. Now the funny thing is that makes it look like an MG kind of sword right there with that tab. But the tab is of course just for this little bitty adapter like so. And you can ignore the nubs because it's going inside the hand. So you do just have a spot right there in the middle of the hand. You just plug it right on in and you close the little fingertippies. It's not going to go completely around it. I thought it would, but it do not. So that's that. I just think it's awesome. I'm going to pull off the stand for a second. See, okay, those hips, those are going to be problematic over time. That's probably a tiny bit of mold degradation. Now the ankles also are a little bit weak, as I stated. So it takes a lot to get this big boy planted and leave him planted. I mean, he looks really awesome, but you throw that sword in there off to one side, you put one arm a little bit further out than the other, and it starts getting off balance. But you can totally get him in some really awesome poses like this. Now, this does give me a very Hulkbuster effect. You know, it does look pretty awesome in that way. And I have a feeling there will be people, if they haven't already, who will totally be doing this guy up as a Hulkbuster version in the red and the gold and stuff like that. I think there's nothing wrong with that by any means. I think it'd be pretty cool. You can see my sword kind of sucks. Now, as cool as this is, there's one other mode that I like to play with, and I affectionately call it the arm or wing arm mode. So we'll look at that real quick. There we have it in what I call the wing arm mode. And it's pretty obvious the inspiration there. So you can even have the claws open like so. Maybe get some thrust happening. So it's pretty cool. I like that. Extend that out just a hair. There we go. So you can play with this guy kind of however you want. You're going to have the really long rifle going on. I think that's a really, really fun look. He does need some expressive hands. I might have to steal some from Vidar or somewhere like that. I don't know which one has a darker colored hands. I think Vidar's are actually very light gray. But I like this guy. I really do dig this kit. It's not without its flaws by any means. But, you know, I definitely suggest getting it. And if they're giving us the rest of the Cal eventually, so where he can actually, like, be swinging around some really massive armor, that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But, yeah, that's it for the awesome Gundam Dantalion, however you want to say it, IBO review. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, even in the least. I'm going to sit here and keep playing with my camera, because once again, I'm not on my normal set. I'm on this one. And I hope you guys have a great week. We're doing a little bit better here. Harvey has moved on. Of course, there's new potential threats, but we're trying not to worry about that right now. Of course, I want to thank my patrons. As usual, if you don't know, my Patreon, right there on the screen. You guys are awesome. And if you guys are new here, like, subscribe, check out all my content. Usually it's Gundam-related things during the week. And I do have more videos coming up in the nerdy variety. I'll catch you guys on those reviews. Remember, as always, keep on building. Oh, and don't skip Arm Day, because you know there had to be an Arm Day joke in there somewhere. See you later, guys.